And welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson, and today I'm here with Dominic Sandgren of the band Infamous Memories. They are a punk metal band. Dominic's here to tell us a little bit more about them. Dominic, thanks for having you. Great to have you on the show, man.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. So why don't you give our audience just a little bit of backstory of what got you into music, kind of what got you also into this band, and what your influences are?
Yeah, it all started, I was about 14 years old and got the Slipknot Iowa album. And from that moment on, it was set that I was going to play drums. First kit 2 years later, started playing on and off for, here and there with friends. And I'm 29. I've been playing on and off since I was 16. And I never had a real band. A couple years ago, got playing with my buddy Lou, and we formed a band. And me and him still play. But then I was approached by Shaggy, the bass player of Infamous Memories. It was like, yo, Matt Rutherford, our guitar player, is playing guitar with us, and you want to play drums? I was like, fuck yeah, dude. So definitely had to jump on that, and man, the rest is history, dude. It's crazy. We're having a great time. I've been playing with a lot of bands. We probably did 20 plus shows, this last year. So it's been a great time. Actually, July 15th will be our 1 year anniversary with this lineup. But I know Infamous has been together for about 2-3 years. So.
Wow. So, if you had your choice, would you still have picked to become the drummer, or was that just kind of because they just asked you if you want to be a drummer, or would you have picked a different position?
No, drummer's where it's at. Secretly, and they know this, I really want to be a hype man, backup vocalist, and doing some percussion stuff like Mushroomhead Slipknot, but drums is definitely where it's at.
Yeah. What would you say is probably the biggest misconception that people get when they think about the drummer in a band?
Biggest misconception? Oh, man. Probably that we don't do anything, that we don't lug our gear around, that we are just super lazy, when I think it's the complete opposite. We're super energetic and out there. What you see is how we are,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And plus, people don't realize that drummers are actually kind of like the backbone of the band when it comes to setting up the sound. You guys keep the beat, and you guys, basically everyone else deals off you. And, it's said a lot of it, I believe, that the drummer could, sometimes it's the hardest position in the band. Stamina-wise, you got to be insane just to be able to, especially if you're a real heavy core band where you're just, just the rhythm that you have to keep up. It's just incredible to watch a really, really good drummer at work.
Oh, I know, it's definitely a workout for you. That's super high tempo. I don't play that, but that super high tempo stuff, that's a workout, man. That's insanity in itself.
Yeah. So was there ever a song growing up that you listened to that kind of really got your interest into metal music? Did you just have that one moment where you listen to a song and you're like, holy crap, I want to do this. I want to make music that sounds like this.
Oh, man. I don't make that style music, but definitely the intro track to Iowa 515, and then it just kicks into People's Equal shit. That right there was all right, I got some pent up stuff I'm ready to let out and just have fun. That I knew I wanted to play like it. I think Blink 182 was a huge. I don't play anything like Travis Barker, but I think they were a huge, I want to do this. They're having fun. They're still, being professional, but they're having a great time doing it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, what would you say is your guys' signature sound? Would you say that you guys sound like any other band, any really mainstream famous band, or would you say that you guys kind of have a sound of your own?
I think we have a sound of our own, man.
Yeah.
It's always tough to compare to other bands, because I think we're just different. We can play heavy stuff. We can play soft stuff. We're everywhere with it.
Yeah. So, who really writes the music in the band? Is it you, or is it a different member?
Everybody contributes in their own way. Matt writes riffs, and then I'll play around with that with him. Shaggy and Melina work on lyrics together, and then Shaggy writes the bass part. So it's kind of everywhere,
Yeah. And being the drummer, is it like different when someone presents lyrics to you as to like how you're gonna play it, as it might have been that might be like someone else's position in the band? So like if you have like the guitar player and he sets a beat down to it, do you kind of just have to go off of what the guitar player does, or do the guys, since you kind of keep the beat, do they have to go off of you? Do like you kind of decide like what the overall melody is gonna sound like, or do you just vibe off of other people in the band?
The awesome thing is, like, me and Matt have jammed together for a while now, almost 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. So we got really good chemistry. When he comes up with something, I'll start with, okay, boom, this is there. This is what fits. And then after, I'll really try to break it down and like change stuff. And then I'll go off emotion too, how the song makes me feel. And then when I get the lyrics, I might also alter it too, because I'm like, all right, this might sound cool with this part. So I think we just really vibe off each other really well.
Yeah. So also when you're drumming to a song, is there do you like to mix it up? Like when you're performing live, we'll get to talking about live a little bit later, but like when you're you're performing live, do you always like to sort of play it like the same old way that you do, or do you ever like to add in like an extra like cymbal or like an extra like beat here and there just to kind of mix it up a little bit, or are you just more of just a by the book kind of drummer where you just play it the same way all the time?
That's actually pretty cool that you asked that. The last couple of shows now, I've been really trying to mix it up and just adding different stuff, like however I'm feeling, just going with what the crowd's giving us and just the vibes. I'm a very vibey person, so it's like I've been mixing it up now, trying to change stuff. But before I was like, all right, I played this, I need to keep playing this. But then I'm like, no, it's all about having fun, If something feels cool there in that moment, play it. As long as it's not hurting the band and the performance, why not do it?
Yeah. Have you ever done like a solo just for the sake of doing a solo?
No, I am too self-conscious for that, man. Insecurities. We've been toying around with some ideas, but not anything nothing major yet.
Yep. So when you when the music's produced, or when you guys kind of like get the idea of it and when you guys are practicing, how much input do you have into like how it's gonna sound like lyrically wise? Do you have any input into the lyrics at all?
I definitely, if I have an idea, I'll say it. It's not like, all right, this is this and it's gonna stay that way. If I feel something, I'll bring it up, and if everybody agrees with it, cool. I mean, we really try to, be a good chemistry with it.
Yeah,
it's free. We know when we say stuff to each other, it's not, hey, I'm giving you this idea because I think your idea is terrible. No, it's, hey, this might sound cool. Let's try it out. If it doesn't work, cool, we'll scrap it.
Yeah, so it's a lot more of a democracy. It's not kind of like one of those bands where it's kind of like a dictatorship where there's just like one or two people that just have all the say in like how the music sounds.
Yeah, no, it's not a dictatorship, but you can definitely tell, like, when you hear the lyrics, you know what we're going for.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But then we've been now diving into trying to get deeper now.
Yeah. Now, I've heard some of your songs, and I really think that you guys are really great. I mean, like, I love just the melodies that you guys have. I really, really just... It was one of those things where I've listened to music before from guys that I've interviewed on the podcast, but yours was just an extra special, just like, oh, wow, this is like super familiar, because like as a guy that enjoys metal and a guy that enjoys like the punkish kind of vibe to it too, I really got the vibe on that. But when you were joining the band, do you know, like, from the history of the band, were you guys always going to be a punk metal band, or was there kind of like some debate like when the band was forming as to like what you guys exactly wanted to be genre wise?
When we joined, it was more punky, and then me and Matt joining, definitely he brought a little heaviness. We're both heavier. We listen to heavier music. Matt was in a heavier band, Day Zero, at the time, and then me, I love anything, and that heavy stuff is what really gets me. I got to practice to play that style more, but we kind of changed and got heavier, but then we try to keep the punk still there. We're still trying to be that, we'll do whatever, we just like to have fun, be that punk rockers, but also we like to have those brutal moments. Like, we have some new songs that have heavier moments than the stuff that's on the EP that you were listening to. So
yeah. So when it comes to like your definition, what really defines a punk band other than the type of music? Is it also kind of like the attitude, and like how do you try to emulate that as a band yourself?
I think it's. I mean, honestly, I just act however I want.
Well, that's almost as punk as you can get. So yeah.
Yeah. What you see is what you get, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how do you combine? Because in my opinion, like punk and metal are two very distinct genres of music. How do you combine them and kind of make them gel somewhat together? Like, is there a process that you would go through to do that, or is it just kind of you just take something that sounds punk, you take something that sounds metal, and then you just try to play it together and just try to make it seem like it's a coherent song?
Whatever comes out, let it be natural. If it flows, it flows, man. That's the cool thing about music. Like, there's so much mixture, man. Like, there's local bands around here, Ultra Rare. Like, they're mixing, like, gent metal, hip-hop. Like, it's just awesome, all the things you can put together.
Yeah. How would you describe really the punk metal scene in the Twin Cities? Is it a pretty good scene, or is this a scene? Does it like need some work, or is it well represented?
I think it needs, and when I say this, I don't mean it in a bad way. I think it needs a little work. I think we need more punk bands. I think there's a lot out there, but then we got people in other states too they're more punky than here. So I think it's more of a metal scene in Minnesota, but the metal scene has been awesome and welcoming to the punk scene.
I was going to say, you are, I think, my 6th or 7th interview, and out of that, I've had 5 metal bands. So, yeah, I can definitely get the metal scene coming in Minnesota. But, yeah, you're the first punk metal. So, that's interesting because, plus, normally you don't hear of a punk metal. Those are just two genres that you don't really think together. So, I mean, I think that would be a thing that would work really good for your band, though, too, because people, when they hear punk metal, they'll be like, oh, I should definitely look into this because I've never heard of a punk metal band before. Right. So, what would you say, we'll talk about performing live now. Do you have any before you perform live, does the band have any like traditions or rituals that you guys do in order to get yourself ready to go on the stage?
Drink? No, but
I was honestly gonna say that. I say that every time someone goes. I was like, yeah, I consume a lot of alcohol. Yep.
Yeah, no. I like to drink. I get nervous. So it's just it helps me be free. That's a stupid answer to say, but it just helps me let loose, I guess. It's really weird. I like to give people hugs prior or high fives, just to kind of, hey, let's have a good time.
Set the positive vibe and everything.
Exactly, dude. I'm all about positive energy. So I like to give hugs and high fives prior. And then after that, man, we just go crazy. Me and Matt like to wet our hair. That's a stupid thing we like to do is get our hair wet.
Is there a certain point, like when you go out there, that kind of like the nerves kind of fade away, or is it always just kind of just a little bit nervous, or is there a point where like once you get out there and once you kind of get settled in, you're like, okay, like I can relax now, like I'm not as jittery as I was before?
The moment the jitters go away for me is when I get to the venue and my drum set is set up.
Yeah.
After that, I am good. There might be small jitters when it's like, all right, it's time for us to go up, so then I got to bring my kit up. But as long as my drum set is set up, I'm good. The jitters are gone, and I don't know why. It's just a weird thing. Like, all right, I need this to be set up, and then I'm good. Boom, and then it's gone.
And being somewhat like sort of the backbone of the band musically, is there any added extra pressure that you kind of feel? Whereas you think of, since like I set the beat and I set the tempo, like if I screw up, it kind of might mess everything up. Does that add a little bit of extra pressure to you when you're performing live?
For sure, yeah, but you try not to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, our motto is we make fucking up look good. If I mess up, the show goes on. Even like my favorite band, Slipknot, they mess up. It just happens. Like after the show, I'll tell them like, guys, I'm sorry I did that. And they're like, dude, I don't care. It happens. I didn't even notice. So it's like I think we all are our own worst enemies when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So do you ever have like moments when you're performing where you kind of just take a moment and just kind of like look at the crowd and just kind of get the vibe of the crowd, or are you always just so focused on like making the music that you aren't able to like enjoy those moments, or do you make sure that you have a moment like that every time you perform live?
So when I first started playing, my buddy Dave told me you always look down when you play. I looked down towards my hi-hat. He's like, you need to look up. So I always am trying to, like, everyone knows, and they'll tell you, oh, what's the thing you know about Dominic with drumming, and I'm always smiling. I'm always having a good time, and I'm always trying to look at people and connect with them. And we had a show like a month ago with Raven Black. They're from California, and we became friends with them. We've played with them the last 2 years. I saw them 3 years ago, and we just really connected with them. And the singer Raven connected with my grandma, and they're in the crowd. And while we're playing, I look out and saw that, and just kind of got me for a second. Messed up the song and thought we were playing something else, and it was like, oh shit, and then just got back to it. But I always try to look at the crowd and just have fun and make those connections.
And one of the big questions I always ask everyone that comes on here is, what does that feel like? That, like, musicians always describe that high that you get, like, when you're performing live, especially to people, just kind of like the vibe that you get off them, just the feeling that you get knowing that, like, you're providing them with entertainment, and that all the hard work that you put into, like, writing music, practicing it a million times, and then finally being able to perform it live and just seeing the joy in people's faces. What does that feel like to you personally?
Amazing. I think the what gets me the most is the day after a show. Like, even if I'm working or if I'm just laying in bed the day after, I just, like, have this, like, I'm, like, very, like, weird. Like, I have this show high where it's like I feel like I'm still in last night, and I'm still in the, like, I'm replaying the whole night in my head. I'm, like, wanting to talk to everybody about it. Like, it's like that day was the show. It's really weird, but I love every moment of it. Like, this is why I want to be in music, because it's just provides so much, like, unity. You know, we're all doing it to provide something for someone else, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is there one show throughout your career so far that really stands out with you, and is there a reason why it does?
2 shows, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The one was the Raven Black one that I mentioned, just because they were, you know, an out-of-state band, and we built this connection with them. Mm-hmm. And to know that every time they come here, when they, you know, when we're ready, we can maybe possibly tour with them, you know, just to, like, think of those kind of things. It's so surreal that you make that connection, that this out-of-state band's doing bigger things than me, and they want to talk to me. Like, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. To know that we're all normal people. And then the second show, when I got introduced to the metal scene about 3 years ago, it's a local band, Nuisance, that, you know, that was the first band I saw, and was just so hooked by them. And their drummer's my favorite drummer, Rick Fisher, amazing drummer and photographer, best drummer in the scene. But I got to play a show with them a couple months ago, and that was awesome, because that's like, you guys gave me that, you know, boost of confidence that I should do this, and then now I get to share the stage with you guys. So those 2 shows really stand out for me so far. Yeah.
Is there any, like, level of fame or success that you have as kind of like your go-to of, like, when you will be able to just be just a musician and just focus on music in your life?
I would like to hope that, like, you know, I think we all want to be famous musicians, or, like, you know, just always be doing music. But then the reality is, like, you got to pay the bills first. Mm-hmm. You know, I always have that backup plan, so I'm always very focused at my jobs wherever I work at the time. But yeah, dude, I definitely really want to, you know, get to that point where I can wake up and it's like, all right, I'm going to play my drum set right now. I'm going to write some songs, and I don't have to worry about I have to be somewhere, you know.
So, could you remember the first ever concert that you ever played in, and just what that was like, especially just being your first ever live performance?
Oh man, my first ever live performance was in high school. I played a fashion show in the cafeteria. I think, senior, and this, you know, I played trumpet in high school, mm-hmm. so that I wasn't known as the drummer because I wasn't in a band. Yeah. People knew I could drum. I learned Weezer's "Say It Ain't So" that day.
Oh, wow.
And Green Day's "Wake Me Up When September Ends" or whatever. I knew that one. That was super easy. But when we played Weezer, I remember hitting the ride, and then I remember the last part hitting the ride at the end. Like, I blacked out that whole song, but I guess I played it, according to everybody. But, like, that was my first performance, was blacking out during a song and not knowing that I played it.
Wow. So do you have, now this is going to get down to real truth time, do you have, like, a guilty pleasure song, a song that no one would ever guess that you would enjoy?
That no one would guess I enjoy?
Being in a punk metal band, is there, like, any just song where someone would be like, oh my god, how does Dominic like that song? That's so not Dominic.
I think a lot of songs people would be like, yeah, that's something Dominic will like. My guilty pleasure song is Counting Crows, Mr. Jones.
Oh, yep.
Song. I don't know if people would be like, "What? You like that song?" But
Yeah.
that's like,
That's a classic, yeah.
I don't know what it is either. It just rocks hard.
It
for
just
me,
got like
dude.
that peaceful vibe to it too. I mean, it's just yeah. I can't describe it either. I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just one of those things where even the title alone, you're just like, what the hell is this song going to be about? But then it's just
Right.
yeah. I didn't even know what the title was until about a few years ago, but because I just knew it was kind of like the sha la 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 la, just like that song, and then I was just like, oh, it's named Mr. Jones because it's like on some TV show or whatever. So yeah, but do you have also like maybe like a guilty pleasure genre that people wouldn't like? Like one guy that I had on here, he liked like Japanese punk, and I was like, oh well, that's something that you don't hear about every day.
I mean, I'm not like the hugest fan of it, but I love trap music. Like,
Oh yeah,
the beats just really make me just want to just be stupid and get hyper.
yeah.
But, whatever genre Crash Test Dummies are in, I don't even know if you consider that. That's the one band that people will probably be like, why do you like them? But they're so weird.
Yeah. Now, this is a new question that I haven't asked anyone yet, but if there was one song out of all the songs that are ever written, this is going to be one that probably is going to take you a while to answer, but if there's one song out of all the songs that have ever been written that you would wish that you would personally wrote and perform live, what song would it be?
I'm gonna go with like my ultimate favorite song, man. Snuff by Slipknot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I really wish I could say like, that was me, I wrote that song, guys. You know?
Yeah.
It's man, I love that song.
I've said this like a million times on here, so I'm just going to quick go over it for like 5 seconds, but my song that really got me into kind of like the metal scene was Master of Puppets, Metallica.
Yeah, okay.
Just the first time I heard it, just when it opens up, just I've already said this about 500 times on this show, so I'm just gonna we'll just go at that. But so that was probably be mine that I'd want to do, just because I mean nothing really sounded like that back then until they came out with that type of, or it didn't really become mainstream until then. So I really personally just enjoy that. But if you could play also with any other band in history, dead or alive, who would you want to play with?
Any band?
Yeah.
Oh man.
For the record, I'll have the sheet. I asked this the last 2 times that I had podcasts, and one was Jimi Hendrix and the other was Led Zeppelin.
Those would be nasty.
Yeah.
Man. That's tough because
We can go on and then you can think about it and then you can get an answer towards the
I
end.
got the answer.
Yeah.
And it just came to me because I share a birthday with him, and it'd be awesome to be his drummer, Prince.
Oh. Yes.
I think
Yes.
that would be a beautiful thing, yeah.
We've already talked about him on here a lot. We had one guy coming up, I think, who we're going to have on sometime later this week, who worked at Paisley Park
Okay.
before, and then we had another guy who wrote a tribute song to Prince that was really, really good. And I mean, just being from Minnesota alone, I mean, I'm a West Bloomington guy myself. You just as a Minnesotan, he means so much more to us than he does to every other person just else in the world, just because I think he stayed with us when he could have like moved to California, or he could have like sold out and just went out west. He decided to stay here even though we have the shittiest winters around, and he decided to just like still be here, and still he was proud of being from where he was. So I think,
Yep.
I mean, that especially, I mean, just when everyone says Prince and you're from Minnesota, I mean, that just adds something special to just like, oh shit, yeah, it's Prince. So that would be definitely cool. I mean, I just can't believe that he's just as short as everyone. No one knew how short he was. The guy was like 5'2". Just like
Right.
seeing him live, yeah, because I like people always have their Prince stories about like why they see him like buy groceries or they see him like run errands, and everyone's like, yeah, he's just so short. Like you don't understand that. So, but yeah, Prince. I'll write that down real quick. So I got a little poll going. So then when I figure once I get a lot of these episodes in, I'll finally have like a vote, and I'll be like, okay, this is the band that's most desired to be played with. But yeah, Prince for sure. So let's talk a little bit more about like your recording process. Do you guys have a specific like place that you guys like to record in, or are you guys just kind of like we'll just record wherever we want?
Well, we've done a bunch of scratch tracks just
Mhm.
for our referencing. But only thing I've recorded with them is that EP. This one's for Chuck.
Yep.
That one was done at IPR, and Dane of Ruin, he did the recording, and he did the all the stuff having to do with the CD. When we do the next one, I don't know. I think our bass player has someone in mind. It's kind of just, who knows what they're doing, who can make it sound good, It doesn't really matter where we play it.
Do you guys have you guys done music videos, or have you guys been thinking about doing music videos?
We might be doing music videos. I can't talk about too much. Something in the wind out there.
Hey, you got to promise though that you'll let us know though if you guys are going to do a music video, so I can give you guys a plug for sure.
When the video
drops, yeah, you let me know. But yeah, because we've interviewed guys before that have done music videos, and then I've kind of got like a hot and cold response from them, because it can be just a bitch and a half to make a music video, just because how many cuts you have to make of the song. Like one guy we had on was talking about how they just had the camera on him for 5 different times of the song, and he just had to like go really, really hard, and then they do it like 5 different times on another guy, because then they do the slash edit thing. And he's like, yeah, we did it for like 12 straight hours, and we were just dead after like 3 hours of it. So, but yeah, it just seems like one of those things where people don't think not as much effort goes into it as actually does. But right. I mean, and plus finding out what type of music video you want to make for a song. I mean, just that alone. But I mean, it's definitely a great way to get your brand out, to get your type of music out. But I really do think you got to like establish yourself a little bit, before you're able to do that. And one thing that I did forget to ask about like your performance, and then we'll get back to talking about your recording process. But what was the largest crowd that you've played in front of in your entire career?
Our first show that I played with them at Amsterdam last year, Amsterdam Bar Hall.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Amsterdam. No, I was like, holy shit.
Oh, no, I wish. We've only played in Minnesota. We played in Wisconsin for Wasco's.
Yeah.
But Amsterdam Bar last year, we opened for Wednesday 13. That was a really, really, really good crowd. The other place was pretty packed.
Yeah.
Trying to think. We just played Red Carpet a couple weeks ago, and that
was
a good out. I don't know. I don't really think about it, because to me, it's not about how many people are there.
Yeah.
To me, it's about if you're there, you share this love with us. If there's no people, if there's a couple people there, it's going to be more intimate.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people there, we're having a blast. It doesn't really matter to me about the crowd.
Absolutely. So, when you're able to make a successful like recording, how much of a load does that kind of take off of you guys, knowing that like we don't have to keep working on our like figuring out like what types of new music to make? Like obviously there's probably a lot of trial and error that you guys go through, or like they might come up with a song that they think might work, and then you finally realize like, oh, this sucks, like we can't use it. How much of a load off does that take off the band, like after you finally like have come up with a song that like works and you've created a successful melody for, and you really find out that like you think that the audience would really like it, and you guys like performing it? Like, how much of pressure does that take off you?
For me personally, it takes a lot of pressure off, because I'm really trying to step out of that realm of this fits, I'm playing it. I'm really trying to like break parts down and put more into it. We just recently, wrote It's Not a Phase and a song called One More Time, and those two songs, like when we finished those and it was like, all right, this is how they're going to be played, it was like, yes, let's play them live. And It's Not a Phase is like our mosh pit goer right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually really excited to record that one in studio, because once that's like has audio, I will be so happy. So it takes a lot of the load off knowing when you can complete it.
Have you guys you guys had mosh pits, you say, at your shows?
Oh yeah.
Have fights ever broken out at your shows?
No.
Nope.
It's all, you fall down, we pick you up.
Yeah.
You hit us, we let you know. You're going a little too hard, man.
Yeah. So also after you guys have like got done recording, how do you guys promote? Like, what's your method of promotion? Do you guys do like plugs on Facebook? Do you guys have it on YouTube? Do you guys do Spotify? Like, what is your main source of kind of getting the music out to the people?
Music wise, Spotify, Apple Music, I think Reverb Nation also.
Mm-hmm.
And then all four of us are very vocal on Facebook, whether it's our personal page or our band page. I think we have an Instagram, so we're trying to expand and not just be Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably should get a Twitter going too. I tried to avoid Twitter for the longest, but trying to get all out there. But music wise, definitely Spotify I think is like the best platform.
Yeah. Do you guys have any merch that you've been working on, or do you guys have any merch available?
We have shirts.
Ooh.
We have some beer koozies.
Ooh, yes.
We have EPs for sure. And we're working on. We got a couple more shows to go, and then we're gonna take a little hiatus and work on some new material for everybody. Work on the next album, and then work on new stuff to play live. And then I think that's when we get the next run of merch going. We also had beer bongs. I don't think we had.
Ooh.
That was pretty fun.
You guys have all the stuff, man. So like, where can people get this merch? Is there like a website that they can go to?
I think we're working on getting a website going. I think once we get the new relaunch of merch, then we'll for sure get a website.
I was gonna say, because that T-shirt and that other thing, I mean, I'll definitely buy one of those. And just once you guys get a website up or something like that, let me know and I'll plug the crap out of it, because I like buying people's bands merch and stuff like that. It's a cool, nice thing to have. So when you guys are you talked a little bit about the band Raven Black, and then when we talked a little bit before this, you were talking about you guys were thinking about doing a possible tour next year. Do you guys have any idea of where the tour would be? Would it be more of like a California tour, or would they be coming here to Minnesota, or do you have any idea?
I mean, just like the whole the thought of it has just been said of just a tour. I think if like asking me personally, it would be nice probably, yeah, we would want to go everywhere. That'd be awesome everywhere they go. But I think it would maybe, be a couple states around the Midwest area, kind of start it off and venture out there. Like I said, it's more just been an idea of, hey, you guys want to tour? Let us know. We could try to make it happen,
Yeah.
So,
is there
definitely,
Oh, never mind. You can continue.
No, I mean, I think we're working on trying to get, a vehicle so we're not, so we all can ride together. We have our stuff, make it a little more comfortable, so it's not just, a jam-packed car. So there's a lot of more planning that needs to happen, but we for sure want to start venturing out the states, Wisconsin, Iowa, all around here, and then expand.
That's great. So is there a place in the Twin Cities or Minneapolis, or basically the Twin Cities, that you haven't played at that you is like one of your goals is to play at that place?
Haven't played Caboose yet. I would really like to play Caboose.
Yeah. Have you played First Avenue yet?
Nope. And I was just gonna say.
I was gonna say, because everyone's been saying that too. Yeah.
First Ave would be awesome to play.
Yeah. Everyone's been saying that. So when you're also just one last when you're performing live, do you ever have like any moments with like the band where you kind of just like look at each other and just are like, holy crap, I can't believe that like we're doing this or that we're performing live? Because like that's always like a popular trope in like movies that have like bands in it where the lead singer or whatever like looks at the drummer, they look at the bass player and they're like, holy crap, I can't believe this. Do you guys like ever have that in real life?
Yeah. I'm always looking at them. Me and Melina always are looking at each other. Melina's our singer. It's always, every time I look at them, I'm like, I'm trying to have conversations with them too. Which I don't know why, because I'm like, they won't hear me, so I don't know why I'm trying to talk to them while we're playing, but we definitely look at each other and we're like, dude, this is definitely going on right now. They're liking our stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I gotta say, you just have a contagious positive personality so far, just what I can tell from the interview. Where did you get that from? Like, is it just something that you've always had, or is it just something that you just kind of learned to have? Or, I mean, how did you get this type of personality?
I could easily go around and say I was brought up rough, but everybody has a story, to be honest. It's all about how you take that story. So, you can come from the complete bottom, but it's all about how you react to that. I was very people person. I suck off vibes from people. So if you're having a bad time, I'm trying to give you positive energy, and I'll suck that bad energy out. It just came from just thinking positive and knowing that bad stuff happens. You're gonna ride the roller coaster, but you're gonna get through it. Everything happens for a reason. I actually have, it's probably hard to tell, but it says PMA right here on my wrist. There's a band, Alisana. They're a really big influence of mine, actually. And when they started touring, a band told them PMA, positive mental attitude. And just knowing that every situation, something bad can happen, but if you're positive through it, you'll be fine. And then golden energy is a meditation term that I learned when I was getting into meditation. So through golden energy and PMA, anything is possible.
So talking a little bit about meditation, like how do you really get that sort of positive mental state through meditation? What are the steps that you take?
I think meditation is different for every person. For me, it was definitely, I learned to fill your body up with golden energy, which allows to lift you up and bring you to a place that you want to be. Now, everybody has their own beliefs, but, through my beliefs, you can soar up, and I was able to just see things differently. I think it's possible. I had blockages where I couldn't meditate at times. I haven't meditated in a while, so, thank you for bringing that up, for making me bring that up, because I need to step back into that. But I think if you're able to open your mind up, meditation's an awesome thing.
Yeah. So, speaking of, we were talking about before having that positive mental attitude, we were just speaking about it. How important is that, especially being a musician? Because a musician, I have come to realize, is one of those careers that you're going to start out low, and you're going to struggle a lot just in order to, get your name out there, to get fans, to get promotions, to be able to, advance in your career. How important, or it seems like it's very important, but how much of your positive mental attitude does that play into your, gradual success that you're having as a musician?
I think it plays a lot into it. There's going to be, no matter if you're on tour, no matter if you're just playing a show that day, something bad will go wrong. It's just bound to happen, nothing is perfect. But knowing that, just try to make the best of every situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was absolutely great having you on. Just your infectious attitude, alone is just, I was a little bit tired before I started to do this, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a little bit more energized now. I'm going to go out for a bike ride probably later or something, man. But, so any other ways, we've already talked about, but maybe just to kind of review, where can we find your band? Where can we find your music? You already mentioned you have it on iTunes, right? Spotify, Facebook, everyone can follow you. I'll leave the links to all this stuff below in the video description. And you guys really do, I think, have a ton of potential. And you guys are playing live at all anywhere in the Twin Cities, let me know and I'll be there for sure. Do you have any upcoming shows?
Yes, July 15th, it's a Sunday. We play Terminal Bar. We play with Death Blossom and Engage the Threat, and they're from out of country, I believe, Canada.
Oh, wow. What time is that at, do you know?
It's night. I think it's starting at 9. It was 10, and we made it 9 because it's a Sunday night. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's my birthday, too, believe it or not.
Yeah, dude?
Yep, July 15th, yep. So, if I can get free, man, I'll for sure go and check it out. If you guys perform anything like you do on your EP, man, I'll be more than happy to come and see you guys live. But, man, it was great having you on the podcast. Like we said, if you have any tour updates, if you have a tour coming up that you would like to let us know, if you have a music video release that you'd like to let us know, if you have new songs, anything, you come back on and we would be more than glad to have you on. Or you can just message me on Facebook, do any of that stuff, and let me know, and I will plug the crap out of it. You guys are a well-deserving band of any promotions that you guys can get, man, and I just wish you guys all the success that you can get.
Thank you, dude. From me, from Shaggy, from Melina, from Matt, thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So all my fans out there, make sure to keep your eyes out for Infamous Memories. They are a band that you will be hearing about soon. And, dude, it was great talking to you, Dominic, and you take it easy, man, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great night, dude.
You too.
Peace.